Welcome back, everybody. We've got some more Streets of New Capenna for you. Today, we're going to go over the green cards. We've got HamHawks42 and HearSayTTV with us. How are you guys doing today?
Gravy, baby. I'm ready to get
Absolutely.
into this.
Doing great. Looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah, where can we find you guys at?
You can. I just got over this sickness, but usually you can find me 4 times a week: Monday to Thursday, Monday Tuesday during the day, and Wednesday Thursday at night. I'm in Canada, so Atlantic Eastern. It's an hour after regular Eastern time.
Yep. And you can find me twitch.tv/hamhawks42 Monday through Friday. I'm there between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. most days. Just jamming, having fun with Janky Brews.
All right. So we're going to dive right into it here. Our first card is a common, decent card for limited. We have a colorless and a green for Attended Socialite Elf Druid. It's a 2/1. It has Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under control, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Mostly just like a curve filler type card. You get some extra value with it. Maybe you can hit for some more damage if you get a couple creatures coming into play. Other than that, not a constructed card. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, this is. I
Yeah.
think this is just plainly limited. If it
Yep.
was a +1/+1 counter, then maybe, but because it's +1 until
Yeah.
your turn,
Now,
limited.
notably, this can trigger multiple times. So if you have multiple creatures entering, then that can be a good swing, but it is temporary. So yeah, definitely limited.
Yeah, I think
Scoot
it.
Swarm attendant.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm not mad at that.
it trades up in mana most of the time, probably in limited, so that's good. But the card itself doesn't really have it. Does like it gives other alliance obviously because it's a creature, so that when it comes into play, it's gonna give alliance. But other than that, like it's not. This has a keyword ability, but it's not a synergistic card.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our next card here, we have a mythic actually, Bootlegger's Stash. It's actually a pretty interesting card. 5 colors and a green. It's an artifact. Lands you control have tap, create a treasure token. I mean, this card screams EDH,
Yeah,
Brawl,
this
those
is
type
this
of
is a command.
formats.
This is a commander card, without question.
Yeah, other than that, I mean, do you
Mm-hmm.
guys think it's going to get played anywhere else?
I can't see it being played and constructed like in any 60 card format, and I'd be surprised if I did. I mean, when it comes to it's a 6 mana do nothing artifact until your next turn, and then even then your next turn you're not really doing anything because it's you want to create treasures with mana that you've left open, right? So it's an EDH card.
Yeah, no, in EDH where you can have a ton of payoffs for treasure tokens and things like Seedborn Muse, which actually Pizza you mentioned as when we were offline, like how crazy that interaction is, and you're 100% correct. Yeah, in those situations you can do some really crazy stuff with it, but yeah, yeah, I hear Sam with you. I don't see this making any moves standard, historic, any format. Whenever you get into high mana values, for kind of weird effects like this, it's generally EDH, and that's definitely the case here.
I
Mm-hmm.
said it was the thing you want to ramp to in your ramp deck if you need more ramp to get to like the bigger thing. So I mean, like, yeah, let's say you play like 3 or 4 of these in your deck that kill the first one, then you play the second one, then you're probably fine. But you're also probably playing like some weird Soul Tie or like Naya deck or something where maybe you got some board wipes to kind of help you stabilize. So I mean, other than like a janky brew, I agree with you guys on this. I don't really think that we'll see this in limited. It costs 6 mana, it doesn't really do much. So yeah,
Hmm.
probably a no on that. And our next card here, we have an uncommon Bouncers Beat Down. So 2 colorless and a green instant. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a black permanent. Bouncers Beat Down deals X damage to our creature or planeswalker where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. If that card would die this turn, exile it instead. What are your opinions on this? I think this is the last of our cycle here that costs 2 less if it targets something, right?
Man, I have a love hate with this card because green doesn't need any more fight spells or like value fight spells. The fact that if the creature or planeswalker dies, it's exiled. I feel like this was Wizards' way of dealing with Orzhov and Mono Black Snow with Blood on the Snow. How they
Mm-hmm.
kept getting value with bringing that back. I know like a lot of counterpart that were black decks were in a mirror. They were just running Valentine just to make sure they could exile it
Mm-hmm.
if anything died. So the fact that this just does it, and if it targets a black permanent, it's a 1 mana fight spell at instant speed, no less. This is just brutal, especially like against a card like Edgar Markov. where and this doesn't fight. It just deals damage, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it just deals damage to the card.
It's even more better.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna play.
Yes, it's very situational, but I think this is a really good card. I think this is like a sideboard card that mono green is gonna like slide into their fight spells.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And another way in which this card is fantastic is the way it's worded. One of the things with cards like Rabid Bite or what is it, Master's Rebuke, one of the newest ones, that deal that one-sided attack or that one-sided bite, if you will.
Yeah.
One of the problems is if you cast that and then they kill your creature, it fizzles and has no effect because it doesn't have a target. Bouncer's Beatdown is written in a way that says it deals X damage to target creature planeswalker where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. If they kill your biggest thing, it then defaults to the next biggest thing, which, if you're running a mono green aggro deck, that might still be big enough to kill the thing you're targeting. So
yeah, most of your cards are 4/4s, right? 4/4s or 5/5s. So
yeah, like even then, like
kill something.
Like I am thinking of Magical Christmas Land as Ham always says.
Yes.
I'm always thinking of like where does it say this is gonna cost 1 mana if you hit something with black. Say they destroy your OGT, your troll. It only costs 2 mana to put on the land, and you take 2 mana, and then you create a 4/4. So you do that all in respect and still do 4 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this card is going to be definitely heavily played sideboard card. I think the main thing about this card, like we are talking a bit about Planeswalkers, but I really think that that's going to be the main mode of this. You're going to see the green players do is they're just going to be killing Lolths, they're going to be killing Sorens.
Yeah, they have a way to killing Planeswalkers now without having to worry about.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, even if you even if you're not targeting a black permanent, I mean, yeah, just get the Wandering Emperor out of here, right? That's not bad.
The Wandering Emperor's out of there, Kaido's out of there. I mean, Teferi's not really played, but Teferi's out of there. Like, just the fact that mono green has something to kill planeswalkers versus just having to attack through, this card is pretty huge.
And I think that's good. I think that's like a great thing to kind of start attaching or planeswalker to a lot of cards that, destroy or deal damage, anything like that.
Well,
it gives it more like variety, right? Like.
Yeah, exactly. I say so many cards. There's not enough cards that deal with planeswalkers. That's what makes planeswalkers so good, especially when you have like planeswalkers that have great abilities and you can't get through. Like Lulz creates 2 bodies you have to get through.
And if you get through them, it gets the counters again. So you have to hope that you leave
counters again. Yeah, exactly. So it's just like it's just one of those things that Green's never had the chance to really deal with planeswalkers, so being able to have this, I think this is going to be really good for them.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we're talking about.
I mean, Hollywood, you're the mono green player here.
Yeah,
so how you feel?
I like it. I mean, I think it's primarily a sideboard card. I mean, I'm happy that Green's getting this card because the main problem that it has is those black decks, and it really sometimes is that Lulth. They kind of just get some more extra time. The Sorin gives them life. I mean, the Wandering Emperor, any of this stuff is great. I mean, the fact that you're able to target planeswalkers or even target a creature, so it just has, 2 usages. I think that I'm definitely going to be playing this card in my sideboard. And, it's not just a mono green card. I think that the Naya decks and even, like, the Werewolf decks are going to like this in Alchemy. I just think that this card just has a lot of flexibility and it's playable. It's planeswalker removal.
It's planeswalker removal. It's an instant. Most of mono green or any of all their interaction spells for those kill spells are sorcery speed, other than I think Inscription, right?
Inscription is like one of the only instant ones. Yeah. So having this, I mean, I don't even mind it. I mean, main deck it costs a little bit too much. I kind of want this spell to cost 2 mana if I'm just gonna main deck it outright, but. I think as like a sideboard card, I don't mind playing 2 of these because I can bring it in as an extra removal spell if I need to against the creature decks and against any deck that's like the black mid-range grindy type decks. You're definitely going to want to bring this in because you're not going to waste it on like, the Shambling Gas, but you're going to waste it on, their Planeswalkers, a Trespasser, something that's like valuable, worth killing. So I expect to see this card and be playing it.
I think this is even like thinking on other formats, like we'll see it in Alchemy, we'll see it in Standard. I even think like we'll see this in Historic too. Like being able to what's our troublesome planeswalkers is 5 fairy, right? And we have 3 fairy. So like this is it's going to be a problem. Like to be able to those mono green lists, like was it the big green stompy Coco list that's running in Historic right now? Like I would run this in my sideboard to deal with Planeswalkers. Like this is just a good green Planeswalker hate card. I love it a lot.
Yeah, I love that double flexibility of creature or planeswalker, so it never feels like it's a dead card.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, Bouncer's Beatdown, definitely going to see that card somewhere in Constructed. Next card's a reprint, not much to talk about. We'll just go over what the card does. Broken Wings, 2 colorless and a green, instant. Destroy artifact, enchantment, or a creature with flying. We've seen this card plenty of times.
Yeah.
We see it like every other set. Just a really good card. Decent and limited, and I've played it in my mono green sideboard as well. When you need to just find something that just kills one of these permanents. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Next card here, we have another limited card, but it's kind of cute. Cabaret Initiate, 1 green, 1/2. Raccoon Citizen, 2 colorless, and then we have Boros Hybrid, so red-white hybrid. This card gains double strike until on a turn. A little bit expensive on the ability. Barely playable, limited. The artwork's cool. That's really about as far as
I get like Avengers vibe from this card. I need his leg, his eyeball.
Yeah, that's kind of about as far as the coolness of this
Avengers,
card.
it's a Galaxy.
Yeah, Guardians. Yeah. No, it's a in limited. It's begrudgingly playable. Like it's fine.
Yeah, it's basically it's a 1/2.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Suit it up, give it runes.
There you go. I was about to say, in a set where you can augment your creatures more, if equipment was more of a thing in this set, then it would be much better. But yeah, as it stands,
just expensive for just double strike.
Agreed.
Our next card here, another limited card, but I actually think this one's pretty decent. 4 colorless, a green, Caldea, right? I don't know. Strong Arm, Caldea, Strong Arm, 2/3, Human Warrior. When it enters the battlefield, put 2 counters on a creature. You can blitz it in for 3 colorless and a green. Even in limited, I'm skeptical because I feel like if the blitz was, I know it seems kind of crazy. If it was like an uncommon and the blitz was 3, maybe I'd probably say, yeah, this card's great. But for 5 mana and it's not 4 powered or 3 powered, I'm going to have to pass on this card.
Yeah, your choices are either to drop a 4/5 for 5, which is meh, or drop a 2/3 for 5 and buff something else for 2. I think there are going to be situations where it's relevant and it could be decent, but
I mean, it is at the end of the day, it is draw a card. If you play for the blitz, which is like kind of like their balancing way of doing it, like you can get in with this creature and then draw a card, and then you have to sacrifice it. So like maybe, but like I think it's just limited. I'm just wondering, like, is it just one arm that's strong or both of them?
Just one. It looks like they just got that big cleave, right?
Yeah.
But I don't see it being buffer. It's not like the samurai. Granted that the samurai was like in a set where it was like modified, so maybe we're not gonna see like cyberpunk Caldea Strong Arm here, but yeah, I mean, once again, kind of just like a low end limited card there. Our next card that we have here, Choo Choo, watch out, it's the Kapena Express coming on through. 3 colorless and a green, 6/6 vehicle, sack a treasure. It becomes an artifact creature till on a turn, or you can crew it for 3. The treasure ability is obviously powerful, but even in limited, I don't like 4 mana do nothing cards. And this doesn't have trample.
This card. This like
limited.
This like it's a limited card. You're not gonna see. You would see it in Constructed if it had trample. How the hell are you gonna tell me that this big ass locomotive Kapena Express train doesn't have trample? Like it's gonna barrel through.
Maybe it's a kill on the spot. Maybe that's why it doesn't have trample, right? It just hits you and you're dead. Just a kill on the spot. Flavor wise, I don't know. Hammer, you got some input on this?
Trample would be huge. It would be a big boon to it. I think being able to sacrifice a treasure to crew it is shockingly powerful. I think in a lot of situations that is going to give you a 6/6 for 4. And so, all right, that ain't bad. You can, if you have treasure lying around, you can block with it. If you can swing with it the next turn. Crew 3 is kind of lame. Like I wish that was crew 2. But at the end of the day, it's a common. So this feels like a common, but I think it feels like a pretty good one, especially in limited. Like with treasures, treasures are everywhere in this set. They're just lying around all over the place. So it's not going to be hard to take advantage of that ability. In which case, you just have a 6/6, and the entire rest of your team can still attack. So I don't know. I think in limited it's actually quite strong. Obviously in a decent green deck, maybe one that's that has the ability to create treasures. So I don't know if that deck exists. If that's one that is out there, then I think Kapena Express fits into it nicely. I don't know. Obviously, obviously, if you have something like Bootlegger Stash going, then Kapena Express is great.
Yeah.
But that's Magical Christmas Land to the extreme.
I'd say this is more like a Riveteer slight payoff card. Like, you're right, the first one you played, it's going to be a blocker in limited, so that's high upside. And then if you have something that keeps crewing this, just one creature that keeps crewing this continually, then I mean your opponent's in for some trouble, right? Like, if you, let's say you play a 2-drop that makes a treasure, you ramp into this on turn 3, now we're really talking, right? Now this card's like gonna start punching them in the face, or they're gonna have to start losing a creature or a card every turn for it. So I mean, there's situations where the card's powerful, and then there's other situations where, you don't have a card to crew it, or you didn't have enough treasure synergies. So I think picking the right deck for this card is going to be
it's gonna be hard. And like I said, it doesn't have trample, and I think that's like what honestly a lot of decks are having trouble with right now, is that all the decks that are currently being played are chump blocks. Like they're like there's so many tokens, or there's so many just like incremental like little tiny 1/1 creatures that either it's a token or it's a creature that you want dead, or like being an eye twitch or salmon gas. There's so many chump blocks, so not having trample is just a moot point.
Yeah, I think that's in constructed. It's probably going to be, I mean,
yeah, in constructed I don't really see it like this versus Chariot. That's the comparison, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah. This is
like
shared at home in a big way. The one thing I can see is being able to wipe the board and then sacrifice an artifact and then swing with the 6/6. Like, that feels pretty good, but I don't know that I want to build a deck around that.
Yeah. I could see that. But I don't
know. That's the one situation where
Lesnia control.
Oops. Yeah, let's go for it. Why not? Let's get weird. But no, it's fringe play. I think it's decent and limited, but that's about it. It's really where we're gonna see it. Yeah.
Our next card I think is actually pretty decent. We have Civic Gardener, colorless and a green for a 2/2 human citizen. Whenever this card attacks, untap target creature or land. I actually think it's great because I mean, it's on curve. It can ramp you, or not potentially ramp you, but essentially it makes it so that you can cast multiple spells in a turn, or even untap a creature to use the ability again. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna draft this in my green decks in limited. It's a 2-drop. It does what it's supposed to do.
2-drop, 2/2. I'm wondering if this card. So I don't play too much of Pioneer or Legacy or even Vintage. Is there any like big bomb lands there? Like, because like you could untap your land and then tap your land for more mana, right? When you attack with this. Like, you have like Gaia's Cradle or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
But you wouldn't want to play this in that deck. Like you're winning before, like you play this and then you just lose. Like an Elves, most of your deck you're comboing off on turn 2 or 3. So like you don't really care about doing that specifically. Gaia's Cradle I think is always like if you have it, yeah, like you're gonna win. But like most of the time you got like Heritage Druids or like the symbiote that starts untapping.
I guess like this
Priest of Titanias. There's just all kinds of stuff
we're gonna be talking about later on today. So that card's actually gonna be broken in Modern. So I can't wait to see that.
But this card I think is just like mostly like limited filler, like a curve filler in limited.
That's fair.
Yeah. I want to see. I wonder if like a Bant situation in Historic with Lotus Field might work. I think that's probably the best situation for Civic Gardener, but I think there are even then there are better ways to untap that don't require you to
attacking.
Go
is like attacking I think is like the biggest downside. If this was just like tap to do it, then I think this card would be like a home run, right? This card would probably be an uncommon, but I think because it has to attack most of the time, even in limited, there's a high chance you're only really going to get one activation from this.
Right.
And other than that, in constructed, you're just getting stonewalled. I really like the card though. I think when I first read it, I was like, oh, that's a cool, unique way of making like a mana creature without essentially ramping a player. But I mean, yeah, mostly just like a limited card.
Or just give one of your other creatures vigilance.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with pseudo vigilance.
Mm-hmm.
So our next card here, a little bit expensive. I just, I love these cards for EDH.
This is limited.
Yeah, like an EDH limited card. Cleanup
Yeah.
Crew, 4 colorless, 2 green, 6/6 human citizen. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you have a choice of 4, so you choose 1. Destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, exile target card from a graveyard, gain 4 life. Yeah, I love this in limited. I mean, this card is technically like a bomb, just because like it gains you life, and then you have the choice of maybe destroying like a problematic permanent, whether it be like a creature or just outright like artifact enchantment, exiling cards from the graveyard. I mean, I'm gonna be wanting to take this if I'm in green. Other than that, in constructed, this card's not good because there's just so many, the 2-drop, the werewolf. I'm sorry, I don't know the names of some of the cards, but the 2-drop that whenever you can pay a colorless to sack it, or it turns to nighttime and it attacks and destroys something. Is it Intruder? No, I'm so sorry, but that card I think specifically.
I think the Intruder is when it flips.
Yeah, but that card specifically, I think that card is a lot better than this, right? Because it's more mana efficient. So I expect this to not get played in constructed, but in limited, I mean, I love this card in limited.
Well, we've seen cards like this before. I mean, it's very common in limited for there to be 6 drops, 6-drop
life.
fatty that gains life.
Yeah,
and this just has some additional stuff stapled to it.
And it's a 6-drop, like it's a 6-drop.
Yeah, it's limited.
It's good.
100%
limited. Yeah, I mean, if I see 2 of these, I'm like, it's like Kaldheim, like the worm. I forget what the worm is called.
Yeah, the Ravenous Lindworm, was it?
Yeah, the Lindworm. I mean, that card was great in that format, and this card does more. This card can literally kill a card if it needs to, and you still have the 6/6 body. So I'm gonna be playing this in limited. In constructed, I'm gonna wish that I could play it in limited because I really miss acidic slime. Does anybody miss acidic slime? Like,
yes,
I do.
Yes.
Acidic slime would be so good right now. Maybe right. It probably costs like 4 mana and be like a 3/2.
No, the only reason why I miss acidic slime is because it deals with creature lands.
Yeah,
it deals with lands.
That'd be great.
We do not have enough ways to deal with creature lands. We just
I was telling him I wanted a card that we're gonna get to later to say destroy land on it. I'll talk about it when we get to it, but yeah, I definitely can't agree with you more. Our next card here we have Courier's Briefcase, a colorless and a green. It's a treasure artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. You can sacrifice it to add a mana of any color. You pay 1 of each color, tap sack it to draw 3 cards. How do we feel about this?
I mean, this is just Innkeeper with extra steps, right?
Which is funny because I love it. I think it's great. You're right that it's very similar to Prosperous Innkeeper in that it's a 2-drop that creates that gives you access to a treasure token and a 1/1 body. It doesn't gain you life the way the Innkeeper does, but if you have Wooburg lying around, you can draw 3 cards, and 3 cards is a lot. So
it's a lot. But I mean, who has Wooburg?
I've got Wooburg in a couple of decks.
You don't got Wooburg.
I got Wooburg, baby.
So check it, guys. The Tri-lands are going to be in for a while. My prediction on this card is it doesn't get played now because of cards like Prosperous Innkeeper, and there's other ways to ramp. I think that come rotation, I think that we'll be seeing this card a lot more, and I'm almost willing to bet that that last ability will be relevant at that time, just because we probably have like another. There's the other cycle of the slow lands that we could have, all kinds of different stuff that essentially. I think Innistrad doesn't leave. Innistrad and all them stay in. So, I mean, we will still have all those lands.
When is rotation, by the way? Like, what does anyone
September.
know?
It's
September?
in September,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So, we're going to be hanging for a while.
Yeah.
We got a couple months.
That's something. Well, the Tri-lands are going to be in until next year, till next September. Yeah. So, I'm telling you, I think that this card gets a little bit better by then. I mean, I like this card in all kinds of decks. Maybe I'm overvaluing it, but the fact that it ramps you and it makes a blocker, like... That's exactly what Innkeeper does. The only difference, obviously, Innkeeper gains you the life, but the difference is that Innkeeper, like, I would rather play this in a control deck than the Innkeeper, I think. Right? Whereas the Innkeeper, you're playing it more in, like, your creature deck because you're getting more value off of the life gain. and in your control deck you want to draw more cards. So let's say you have like a Celestis, you got the treasure from this, the mana from this, some treasures lying around, and maybe you just use that last ability and pop it off and draw some cards. I mean, doesn't really seem too far-fetched, right?
Yeah. I was just about to say, with all the treasures lying around and other mana rocks, it's not hard to put together. You know, you could have a 3-color deck, which is going to be 3-color decks are going to be everywhere by design, and it's going to be very easy to splash those additional 2 colors without really trying.
This into a key, right? Like you play this and then you go right into the key to the archive.
Oh yeah, key to the archive would definitely make that happen.
And then you can use the, you know, if you play another one of these later, you can use the last ability from the key for this. I mean,
yeah, totally.
I just feel like, yeah, I feel like it's a weird card because it doesn't seem like much, but I don't know. I think that there's a lot more to it, and I feel like I'm gonna see it for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a strong card. I like it.
Solid uncommon. Our next card is actually a solid uncommon, but for limited specifically. I'm actually a huge fan of this card. Elegant Entourage, 3 colorless and a green for a 4/4 Elf Druid. Alliance, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature other than this card gets +1/+1 and gains trample. So on rate, 4 mana, 4/4. I love it. And then the extra ability, if I get to play something, I can't give this card trample, but I can give maybe something else a boost and get in even if the trample isn't relevant. I think that that's really solid. And of course, like you guys stated before, if you get like a card that makes multiple tokens, or if you're playing 2 creatures a turn, then yeah. Limited. I'm just I love cards like this and limited, just big beefy cards.
Yeah, I like it because it's gonna give something +1/+1, but more because it gives it trample. Secondly, I like this card because if you for the viewers, like this, I'm almost positive this is one of the cards that has like every different artwork for different countries, right?
I know Gala Greeters does. I don't know about Elegant Entourage.
Yeah, no, I think it's Gala Greeters. Yeah,
I think it is the Greeters. It is the Greeters. I was like, is it the Entourage or is it the other one?
This artwork's pretty sweet though. I mean, it's very colorful. I mean, this card is just so strong and limited for me. I'm a big fan of it. It's just the type of 4-drop that you want in your Cabaret deck. In Riveteers, you don't even care because some of those creatures are big too, and you know they might even be able to what is it? What's the dash? What's the dash? Blitz. You'll be able to blitz something in. And
I'm definitely gonna try this out in Scoot Swarm for sure.
There you go. So many clicks though to give each one of them +1/+1 trample.
Oh yeah.
It'd be so many clicks, but well worth it. Yeah.
Oh man, that sounds great. You can just play it as a 1-of. I mean, you combo off, right? You play it, and then the next turn you're like, oh, I guess I just.
All right, everything's getting a lot of +1/+1, and everything's trample. So can you deal with it?
Build your own overrun. Sounds pretty like a Crate of Hoof type deal.
Yeah.
I mean, this card is just cool. It does a lot of cool things. Very green. This card's like a great representation of green. You know, it almost feels like it should be double green, but it's not. Which is, there's a lot of cards. Like I feel like this set, you know, I'll say it. I don't think I said in some of the other set reviews. I feel like this set's a little push for some of the commons and uncommons. And I mean, it's not even like the rate. It's more like even the mana cost. I mean, we talked about in our red set review, we talked about the spoils, how they trimmed down a red mana cost from it. So I mean, this is another card where maybe like a few months ago in a different set we would have seen it at double green, but here, a card that fits into all the 3-color type decks. Our next card here is an interesting card. I'm not really sure if we're gonna see it.
No, this card is
I don't
sweet hot trash.
I don't think it's good at all. Evolving
good. I couldn't be lower on this card.
Yeah. The funny thing about this card is that it reads so nice. Until the last sentence.
First time I read it, I was so jazzed, and then like
you're like,
with each line, it was like, I think I see where this is going. Oh, it's wrong.
Oh, you
not birthing pod.
Fucking kidding me.
Totally not a birthing pod. I like how we all had like the same reaction. Evolving Door, 2 colorless and a green artifact. A colorless, tap it to sack a creature. Count the colors of the sacrificed creature. So you're like, okay, 1, 2, 3. Then search your library for a creature card that's exactly that many colors +1. So I mean. Oh man, exile that card, then shuffle. You can cast the exile card.
Yeah, we can
No.
leave this. We can just go to the next card.
Yeah, I mean,
This thing, it reads so nice. It reads so nice in the last sentence, and you're like, "Go fuck yourself, wizards!"
a
Like
braid just is gonna hurt, right?
it's such a fucking tease.
Like a braid's gonna hurt. You're gonna play this. You're gonna be like, all right, I can't wait, and then it's like no, or you're gonna still get some value off of it, but then it's gonna blow up, and then your other card's gonna die, or gonna get board wiped, and then you're gonna be like, oh, cool. Like, you know what's really crazy is even like without the like Endic combo, I don't even know if like let's say this was literally Birthing Pod. I don't even know at the actual like without the Phyrexia mana. I don't even know at the actual mana cost how crazy that card is in standard. Right? Like there isn't like just go get this card to win. Before when originally when that card was in standard, there was all kinds of stuff you can do. In modern, obviously the card pool's huge, so you can do all kinds of different stuff, but in standard, I mean, you're like upping your creature to maybe go get something that's value, and I mean, like this card's worse obviously because you have to pay the mana for it, which makes it like pretty much unplayable. But I feel like this card just it doesn't do anything. I don't know if like your card not really doing much and having to rely on your deck be built a certain way to try to get value is good anymore when every card has value, right? Like every card is literally like a 3-for-1.
I was like, this card's trash, and then I was like, oh, let me give it the benefit of the doubt because it does put into exile, and there is one card that can grab from exile that we do have in or on arena. That's Karn. Karn, the Great Creator, can grab artifacts from exile. So if you were to grab an artifact creature, then Karn can grab it.
Yeah, Karn can wish it out of your sideboard or out of exile.
That's interesting, I suppose.
All right, but we talked enough. Let's evolve. Let's evolve to the next card because I don't even want to think about trying to make that card good. I don't think it's good. This next card, though, I think this next card is actually a bomb. Yeah. We have Fight Rigging.
Wait a minute. You didn't like this card.
I didn't like it originally, but you guys definitely turned my head on it for sure.
Excellent. Okay, cool.
2 colorless and a green enchantment. And I've seen a few other people be like, yeah, this card probably is legit. Hideaway 5. So essentially, when this comes into play, you look at the top 5 cards, get a card, put it in exile for now. And then it says, at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. Then, if you control a creature power 7 or greater, you can play the exile card without paying its mana cost. Yeah, I mean, you play the black card that we talked about in our set review, the heavy. So you play the heavy, and then next turn, you play Fight Rigging, and then you're way ahead. Or in Historic, this card gets really bonkers really quick, where you can ramp out something on turn 2, like a Lovestruck Beast, and then essentially on turn, 4, you can somehow try to get this off if you can get another power on the beast or just anything else. I don't even know.
Was it turn 3 you go Fight Rigging just to have it out, just to see what's in your next couple cards, and then turn 4 you go Reggie?
Yeah. Actually, no, you can go turn 2 Reggie and then turn 4 this, and then you're off to the races, right? Or turn 2 Reggie, turn 3 this, or the card that we talked about, the heavy. The heavy is a 3-mana 6/4, so you can turn 2 the heavy, turn 3 you play Fight Rigging, and then you get to cast like I don't know, a Planeswalker. I mean, this card's crazy. Like you can build your deck in such a way where you can really pay off with this, and I mean even the situations that we're talking about, if you're not casting those cards for free, you can still ramp into them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this card, and I love this card. I don't know why, but I just see this card in Storm the Festival.
Sure, because Storm the Festival is going to have a lot of good 5-drops that you wouldn't mind hiding away.
So many good 5-drops, and like Storm the Festival becomes such a huge value because say you were to get, you're already building it, you already have creatures. You Storm the Festival, you get 2 Fight Riggings down, boom, boom, and then freaking those Fight Riggings each dig 5 cards down, and then the counters go on to something that you're for power wise, whatever. And then it only says if the target creature has 7 power. It just needs one of those creatures to have power 7 or greater, and then both of them go off. Like this that can be a pretty explosive turn.
I think this and Ren are going to be like best friends.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Like you make the Ren token, and then you put obviously put the counter, and then you get to cast another Planeswalker for free. Maybe you just cast another Ren and then get another token, or you cast a Lolth, or you cast I don't know. There's so many cards that like it doesn't matter. This is like the more that we're talking about this has like a Bloodbraid Elf feel to it where you play it and you get the card immediately. So it's not even like, oh, I have to wait for it. This is one of the few hideaway cards where you're like, it's already either in play or you just cast it and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I just casted it and then I get to attack and then I get to cast another card for free.
Yeah,
And that's
well,
like nuts, right? Like that's, you can get ahead real quick.
Well, just free spelling in general. Free spelling and extra turns are probably like what the most powerful things you can do in Magic, regardless.
pretty much.
Mana.
And with Fight Ring specifically, there is a 7 drop that we're going to be talking about later that I want to hit off of Fight Rigging so badly. We're definitely going to be talking about that one in a little bit. But
I swear to God, if it's a Ruberg card, I'm gonna.
It's not Ruberg. No, it's in this set review. We're going to be talking about it today.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it a little bit, but
yeah, it's mono green. It's yeah.
I like this
Some
card.
of the folks at home might know what I'm talking about, but yeah, we'll get there.
Even in mono green decks, I think maybe you could play a couple of these, like 1 or 2 of these, and I mean, the fact that it is like a Luminarch aspirant, like Hearsay talked about in our spoilers, you know, it builds up. Even if you don't get the card immediately, you're getting some value off of it. It's an enchantment. It's a lot harder of a permanent to destroy. Yeah, I mean, I know I'm gonna lose to this card. I know they're literally just gonna play the big creature, follow it up with the fight rigging, get the cast, you know, their planeswalker for free, make more tokens, hit me with whatever they're attacking with, and then before I know it, you know, they just have like 10 mana or 15 mana's worth of cards out, and I'm just like, okay, I lose. Like this card, it's weird. This card to me either could be like how I originally thought. It's like, oh, it's like maybe it's too slow, or it's like borderline like broken. It's like close to being like this card could be warping. You know what I mean? Where all of a sudden like, yeah, you better have the removal spell. But even if you have the removal spell, I mean, once the ability resolves, as long as you have a creature power 7 or greater still, like, you're just gonna cast the other cards. So I'm a big fan of it.
I'm a big fan. I'm wondering, like, I just like this card always makes me think. It makes me brew, and I'm like, could you play like a Bant control list that basically like your 7 power creature is your Hollow Storm Giants?
I don't see why not.
That's hilarious.
Right? Storm Giants is already a 7/7. So you animate, like, you know, you're playing control, you're fight rigging, and they're like, oh, that's kind of weird. You have no creatures, whatever. And the counters just don't go off. And you're like, Hall, Storm Giants, control the board. And you're like, all right, now I can do what I need to do.
Yeah, cast my Planeswalker.
Animate, cast whatever I have hidden away. Like, whoo.
Yeah, just being able to cast a Planeswalker. I mean, even if you need to, like, cast, like, a draw spell, like, seems pretty good. I mean, like I said, the card has the potential to really be, like, busted, where, like, yeah, I play this threat, and if you don't have the immediate answer for this threat, you outright lose.
Yeah, you just lose.
Obviously, games 2 and 3, the card gets a little bit worse because the targeted removal is going to get sided in, or, you know, your opponent's going to be...
I mean, it dies the Vanishing Verse, and it dies the Void, so...
Well, and anything that can hit an enchantment, which there's a fair number of those out there too.
And the charms, some of the new charms hit enchantments too. So the obscure one, I think. Yeah, I mean, be on the lookout for this card. I think we're definitely going to see this card in constructed play.
You're gonna see from me for sure.
Absolutely.
So the next card here, we mostly just have limited for the family. 1 green instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If you control 4 more creatures, it gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Not really much else to say here. Limited Cabaret card. Our next card here, we have Freelance Muscle. 4 colorless and a green. Rhino Warrior 4/4. Whenever this card attacks or blocks, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the greatest power or toughness among other creatures you control. It's fine and limited. I don't really care about it. It doesn't have a comes into play, not much value, but it is just like a big dumb card, so I don't necessarily mind it. It's just like a later game type card, and that artwork is just too badass for me to not talk about this card for less than like 20 seconds. So the next card that we have here is actually a really awesome card.
This card is so
you're
good.
Gonna see this in constructed for sure. So we have Gala Greeters, a colorless and a green elf druid. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. You get to put a counter on this card. Create a tap treasure token, or you gain 2 life. Man, value graders, am I right?
Yeah, right? This card is nuts. Like, I wouldn't even care if it got the counter on it. The fact that it makes treasures or you gain life is pretty huge. Like the fact that you can just say, I'm gonna gain, like if you have more creatures coming down each turn, you gaining 2 life is pretty pivotal. Like I've been in lots of games where I just need that last 3 damage. I just need that last 3 damage. I'm just trying to push through or just find anything to get that last damage in. Can you imagine your opponents going, yeah, Gallagrators, okay, now creature, gain 2 life. Okay, next turn, gain 2 life. And it's each turn, right?
Yeah. You choose one each turn, so you can, if you play 2 creatures, you can start to do 2 of those things. Like the greeter starts to get bigger, now you can block. You can make a treasure, now you can start making more spells every turn. I mean, the card is just like straight value. Like it's you know, this is not the same type of card, but the theory behind it, it's like Tarmogoyf, where like it just gets better as the game progresses because there's more cards going to the graveyard for Tarmogoyf. So this card just keeps getting better if it gets to stick, because if your deck is built around Alliance, you know, if you just have creatures in your deck, I mean, you're gonna get more creatures as the game keeps going on, and they're gonna come into play, and this card just keeps getting more value. So, you know, this card has a potential to get to like a 3/3 or a 4/4 really quickly by itself. Or it also has a potential, you know, the next turn you play 2 creatures and then you play a 6-drop that you want to play, or, you know, like one of the family bosses, you know, like the Cabaretti boss, like Jetmir. Like there's a lot of awesome things that you can do with this card, and like I said, the value as the game progresses just keeps getting better and better. And you're right, like life gain is so important. Like it's so funny because it never used to, you know, back in my day, you know, early 2000s.
All right, there, boomer.
Life gain didn't matter. You'd be like, oh, gain 2 life, whatever. But Revitalize gets played sometimes, right? The white card, it's like a colorless and a white, gain 3, draw
4
a card.
life, draw a card.
Yeah, I mean that gets played, and you know, quote unquote, back in my day, you know, that card would never have gotten played. But
even like right now, we have Sunset Revelry that can be played, which is really good because it creates, if you're down creature, it creates two creatures. If you're down cards, you can draw a card. If you're down life, you gain 4 life or 5 life.
4 life.
4 life,
which is still a chunk. Like, I mean, that's a big chunk.
It's a big, that's a big chunk. Like that's an attack that's just taken away from you. The funny thing is about this whole set is that this set is really its back is on ETBs. So I really feel like we're gonna see Strict Proctor come back with a freaking vengeance.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
But yeah, this card, you're definitely gonna see it in Constructed and Limited. Take it as well. Just all around solid card here. Our next
card is really good. I think, and I think it's all right for Constructed, but this is pretty fucking good in Limited.
Yeah, Limited is pretty decent. We've seen these types of different this type of card actually getting reprinted over the last 3 sets. Glittermonger, 3 colorless, a green for a 1/4 elf rogue. You tap it, you create a treasure token. So essentially, we've been seeing these type of like mana creatures, but they're not really like mana creatures. There was one in Kamigawa. It was like a 3 mana 1/4, but it was black. And then you can tap it to make a treasure, but a creature had to have died. This one just outright makes the treasure. At 4 mana, I think it might end up being just a little bit too expensive, but the 1/4 body definitely makes up for it, considering that it's going to be able to block things on the ground.
It's gonna block things so well.
I actually agree with you on the limited part in terms of it making a treasure. And it's not even that it's ramping. I actually think the fact that it's making that valuable resource that you're able to turn into something else, I think that that's actually what makes this card more powerful.
Like even like the Glithorn making the treasure, you can, for limited, sack that treasure to crew the 6/6.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
You have a way to crew that 6/6, and this card doesn't even have the 3 power to crew it, and you're still able to crew that card. So you know, just the more treasures you have, the better, you know, your deck is, pretty much. I mean, you know, if you have some of these high-end payoffs, it's going to be really fantastic with this. I don't really think that you're ever going to play more than one, and this is going to be like a last one of the last cards you're going to add to your deck, but I think it has potential in Limited. I agree. In Constructed, I'm probably just going to pass on it. Our next card here is actually an interesting card because, you know, you want to talk about Boomer. Back in my day, this would be a spider. High Rise, Souljack, 2 colorless and a green, 2/3 with reach. Whenever this card blocks a creature with flying, it gets +2/+0. Limited card. It's good against decks with flying. Other than that, it doesn't even really attack well, so not really like a fan of these types of cards. I wish they just kept it as a spider.
This one is an elf, though. I mean, that's something, right? I mean,
yeah, it's a creature type. This next card is actually pretty powerful. This next card really... Oh, I'm just gonna read it. So, Jewel Thief, 2 colorless and a green, cat rogue.
Sorry.
That's all good. 2 colorless and a green, cat rogue, vigilance, trample, 3/3. Whenever this card enters the battlefield, you make a treasure token. Okay, so first off, this card's nuts and limited. Like, this card is like top 5 commons for green. And potentially even top common, one of the top commons in the set. I mean, this card would have been like a rare. Like, doesn't this card feel like it should be like a uncommon?
It's a 3-drop and it has vigilance and trample. And then you're talking when it comes in, it's gonna make a treasure. Like remember, like Hollywood, we were talking about this a little while ago. Like, welcome to the days of Magic when one card has to do like 5 things and it's not a rare.
Yeah, even your common has to be like, oh, I have 2 relevant abilities. My stats are relevant to the mana cost, and I have a comes into play ability. Oh, and it happens to be a mana reduction ability, pretty much that I can use later.
Like, it's pretty much like this pretty much costs us 2 mana because it gives you a treasure.
This is like
it's essentially a 2 mana 3/3 vigilance trample.
Yeah, 2 mana 3/3 vigilance trample. I told Hammer earlier, treasure is kind of like energy, and this feels like an energy card where it's cheaper, it's giving you a resource, and it has abilities. Like, yeah, it doesn't draw you the card, but I mean, oh man, this card just... I love green cards like this, and when I read it, it blew my mind. I was like, at common? I was like, that's pushed.
At common?
I was like, limited's going to be a mess. Like, we're going to have some archetypes in limited that are going to just feel like... Or I don't know, some like you get like 3 of these and you're just sitting there.
Yeah, well,
like,
it's cards honestly like this that allows you, especially in limited, to branch out to more colors.
Yeah,
like you're not just stuck into mono green. You're like, oh well, this makes treasure. Like I don't have to worry about it. I essentially have 4 colored lands.
Yeah, it's good on rate. I mean, I can't even talk. We could talk about this card forever. Like, this card's just nuts. At a common, this card's pretty ridiculous. Our next card here, we have Luxurious Libation. X and green, instant target creature gets +X/+X, and you make a 1/1 green-white citizen creature token. Not really much to talk about here.
I really don't care about this card.
It's a good combat trick. Yeah, I agree. It's a good combat trick. You make a creature. Other than that, not really anything special. Our next card, Most Wanted. 2 colorless, green, flash, aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature goes +2/+1. Whenever that creature dies, you make 2 treasures. So you get a little bit of ramp. I'm just going to move on. It's not really a card.
Yeah, the fact that it does flash is interesting. Turns that into a decent little combat trick. And it gives... And since it doesn't have much of a toughness reduction, the creature is likely to die in combat if you're flashing this in as a way of like killing an attacker.
So you are going to get those treasures.
You're probably going to get those treasures. So I don't know. It's not a bad design.
Our next card here, we have Prize Fight. I actually think this card's pretty decent. It has the potential of actually seeing play in mono green. So Prize Fight, a colorless and a green instant. Target creature control fights target creature you don't control. And then you make a treasure token. So essentially this is Blizzard Brawl at home. But I actually
it creates a treasure. This is huge.
Making a treasure's big, right?
It's just
I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I really feel like it's an accelerant.
Instant speed accelerant too.
It's instant speed. Like end of turn, I get to potentially kill one of your things, make a treasure, and now say turn 3, I have a creature on board. End of your turn 3, I kill your thing, I ramp up, and I play a land. So I jump up 2 turns off of 1 spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best part is you don't even have to win the fight to get that treasure token.
Yeah.
You just get it. Yeah.
Yeah, imagine you use the Blight Blade, right? The Death Touch creature. You fight with that and you still get value off of it dying, essentially getting this treasure. Yeah. I mean, I expect to see this card somewhere. This card's going to be commons for constructed.
It's just like I said, it's just instant speed. It's instant speed. A lot of the fight spells, most of them are all like sorcery, or they're outlandishly mana cost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, imagine you play your 1-drop, you play your pup into the pack leader as a 4/4, and then you can hold this up for your turn 3 end step. Do this into your 5-drop. You can go into like Ren or something, or you could ramp into whatever you need, or into double spells.
Well,
all
you can
kinds of
go
stuff.
into you can go what, turn 3? Was it turn 3?
It'd be turn 4 like
Turn 4. You can turn 4 Froghemoth, or turn 4 Invoke the Ancients.
Oh yeah, actually I forgot
Yeah.
about Invoke. That's actually a great point. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, like turn 4 Invoke. I mean, yeah, this card just. I'm telling you, I like picking these weird commons, and I'm telling you that when I read this card, I was like, yeah, you make a treasure like that.
Treasure's probably like the most pushed thing in this last year of Magic
It's up
team
there.
release. All these cards, it's just like treasure.
Removal, and it has cost reduction.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they know how good treasure is. They're gonna find out how good treasure is. So this next,
I really wish I was in the Wizards of the Coast, like, their testing room where they're all playing arena, like, we're gonna jump on the ladder and we're gonna play some decks and let's see blah 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 blah, and they're just getting raffle stomped. I'd love to hear these conversations. Be like, why did we make this fucking card?
You know what's happening, right? Yeah. Because we're all at home going, damn it, why did they make this card? So they're thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I still think that was a whole reason for Alchemy, is that they just wanted the hive mind. I think Alchemy is a testing ground for cards that's going to be printed 3 years from now.
Maybe.
I could see it.
Yeah, maybe.
Our next card is an interesting common for limited. We have Rock's Pommeler, 5 colorless and a green Rhino Soldier, 6/3. It comes in with a shield counter. If you don't know what a shield counter is, if it would be dealt damage or destroyed, remove a shield counter from it instead. It has trample as long as it has said shield counter on it. I don't really care about this unlimited. If I get one, it's cool. I mean, it's a powerful card, but it also costs 6 mana, and it's not even like I like the comes into play. The one from earlier, destroy an enchantment, an artifact, exile a card, gain life. This is not that card, and yeah, I don't like this really, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm probably gonna end up playing like one every once in a while and be like, it's fine. I mean, the upside is that you're gonna attack with it. They're forced to have to trade, so you're gonna get some trample damage in. You'll remove the shield counter, and then the next turn, you still might end up just kind of killing their blockers or just trading with like one or two things. So there's some upside to the card, but like I said, it costs 6 mana, and at the end of the day, it's not even really like an impressive card at all.
I'm excited to see what John Likes Games does to this card.
Because he likes the Pommeler.
He just loves the Pommeler. I mean, that's his name on Arena.
That's his arena name. Yeah.
So I mean,
he'll find a way.
He's like, I'm just gonna put a bounty. I'm like, yep, John, this is your card. You gotta do something.
Yeah, but no, Pete, I'm with you. I'm unimpressed. It's a 6/3 for 6. We've seen what 6 mana can do, and it can do a lot more than this. Yeah.
All right, so our next card here we have. Oops, let me pull it up here. Sorry, I pulled up the wrong thing. So we have Riveteer's Decoy, a colorless and a green human warrior 3/1. This card must be blocked if able, and it has Blitz, 3 colorless and a green. I think this card's insane. It's weird because early in the game it's gonna be awkward. You can't really attack with it, but later in the game, I mean, limited specifically here, folks. Later in the game,
I was like, wait a minute, what?
No, yeah, later in the game you play this at 4, and you're like, all right, you lose. You're literally like, oh, I've got you down to like 14 or 13 with my first couple of cards. And then all of a sudden now I play this and your card, something has to block it. And then, at least you get something out of combat. I mean, I like this card. It'll redraw you if you blitz it too. So I don't know. As a 2-drop, it's not too impressive unless you really just want to get it out there and trade with something with the opponent early, kind of just keep up with tempo that way. But later in the game, I actually think this card's really strong.
Yeah, I like it if it had a shield counter on it too.
Yeah, that would make it a lot better. I think in limited that might end up being too good though. Potentially where if it does have the shield counter, it's just like a crazy fight spell. But yeah, I think it might have needed that to kind of help push it maybe towards like a constructed. But I think for limited, I think it's like a fine card. It's in the middle though, honestly. It's like if we're gonna rate it out of 5 or something, I'd say it's probably like around like a 3 for me, maybe like a 2.5 to a 3, depending on what deck you're playing and what situation you are in the draft. So even then, it's not crazy, but still solid playable in certain situations.
And we're also seeing again a 3/1 for 2. So that I've been harping on casualty triggers here, but that is a great stat line and a great point in the curve for that as well. So
definitely.
I don't know. This guy makes me miss Taunting Elf. Do you guys remember that card?
Not even a little bit.
I believe it was a 0/1.
Yeah, it's a 1-mana 0/1 from Onslaught.
Yeah, that had to be blocked by all creatures if able.
Mm-hmm. It was
So
a really
if it
powerful
attacked,
card.
all your other cards got through, or all your other creatures got through. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was nuts and elves because you can just go tutor it with the Herald.
Mm-hmm.
You can Skull Clamp your Herald, go get that card, play it, and then the next turn you can just like, I don't know, overrun everybody and then just swing out and kill them in one hit. So
Yeah, and they can't block with any of their stuff because all of them have to be blocked with this little 0/1. It was great. Yeah, and so like Riveteer's Decoy has like a fixed version of that by making it must be blocked if able, so we can tie up one blocker but not the whole team. So I don't know. It's fine. I don't know. I don't mind the design of this card, but at the same time I'm not salivating to get my hands on it. Also, in the artwork, they're clearly holding up an air horn. First time I saw this, I could have swore that was a pistol, and I was like, "Whoa, timeout! What?" Anyway,
yeah,
just throwing that out there.
It could be a gun. I mean, they got some guns in some of the other cards,
Which is crazy to me because I thought guns were never gonna make their way to Magic, like since I think some earlier cards had them. But I thought that was a conscious decision that they made. I could be wrong though. Anyway.
our next card is something that isn't necessarily like too impressive, just some more limited fodder. Social Climber, 2 colorless, a green human druid, 3/2. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. Not really much to say here. We're going to move on to the next card. Our next card here, we have Take to the Streets, 4 colorless and a green sorcery. Just another limited card, really. Creature control get +2/+2 until end of turn. If they're citizens, they get an additional +1/+1 in vigilance. Just gonna see this card as like a limited finisher. Not too crazy. I might not take it too early, but yeah, I mean later in the game this card can just end it. So
yeah, and if you're in the
expect to see
Cabaretti deck, it makes it a lot easier to pick this up. You definitely want it more there.
Yeah,
definitely. Our next
here
card.
comes your card. Here
Yeah,
comes your card.
I love this card as well myself.
Let's go.
So this is the other mythic in green. We have Titan Industry, 4 colorless, triple green, elemental, 7/7. Retrample. What's not to like? The artwork's cool. It's punching something. When it enters the battlefield, you get to choose 2 of these 4. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Target player gains 5 life. Make a 4/4 green rhino warrior creature token. Or put a shield counter on a creature you control. So you can put the shield counter on any creature you control. I love this card. I think this card's great. I think that this is the card that Ramp wanted. I know it doesn't seem like it, but trust me, like this is the card that Ramp wanted because you can put 15 power on the board on like a turn 5 or 6 with this card. Or you can gain the life back that your opponent's been beaten down. Or you can destroy an artifact or enchantment like a problematic permanent, which could also end up being an artifact or enchantment creature like a Kiki-Jiki.
I mean, you get to do 2.
Shield counter is great.
Sweet.
Yeah, you get to do 2. I mean, the shield counter is huge too, where, okay, I can just protect my 7/7 trample, and I make like a 4/4 rhino, or I make, put a shield counter on this and destroy your permanent.
I'm so dumb. I read it as, as the last cards I've been reading, for being fair, being like, pick one that hasn't been picked before. I did not realize you could pick the same one again. So just gain 10 life?
Yeah, 7/7, reach trample, gain 10.
It just says choose 2.
Yep.
So you can choose the same mode twice.
Yeah, so I'm saying you could put 5th. I think a lot of people miss that, actually, because I didn't hear too much rumbling, but when I first read this card, I was like, I think I sent it to you in our chat. I was like, this is last mythic, and I was like, this card's really good.
Well, this is the green of green that was green that ever green when they walked into green.
Oh, yeah. I love this card. This is like, trust me, I want to play. I hope this card gets played and constructed. I mean, I think it could. Like, I'm telling you, I'm not going to discount for 7 mana 15 power. Like,
and I mean, like, this coming out
strong.
on, like, hand that's coming out on turn 4.
Yeah, exactly. So you shake down heavy, fight rigging. Yeah, Titan of Industry dropping on turn 4. Holy crap.
There you go. Yeah, see, there you
go.
go.
How bonkers is that?
So yeah, turn 4, you already have 2 threats, and then you can have a 7/7 and a 4 and 2 4/4s. Or you can just that's probably what you would end up doing, right? You
in
just
Historic, it gets quicker. In Historic, you could do it turn 3. In Historic, you can go Land War Elf into the heavy, and then turn 3, you rigging, put a counter attack Titan, make 2 more rhinos, or blow up whatever you have out. Or
then you're like, all right, so do you have a board wipe? Because if you don't, you're dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Well,
the board wipe they need to have is like Doomscar too. If they have Wrath of God, it's probably if you're on the play, it's not gonna win the game. I
Yeah,
right.
don't
and
think.
what I mean, like you have divine surge and historic now, so you would get rid of anything like the tokens and anything below that, but you still have to deal with a 7/7.
That might have a shield counter on if you choose that ability too, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So if you're going up against a control deck, you want to put a shield counter on this thing because that's
which like
insane.
100. Yeah, like if you're going up against a control deck, you just go okay, have this out, put 2 shield counters on it.
Han, is
Right.
this like one of the best things to reanimate? Probably. Like,
that was just about to say, like, I'm a big Reanimator fan. It's my bread and butter. It's where I keep going back to in every format. Like, you name it, that's what I want to do first. This just became like this is like top 3 short list of things I want to be reanimating in standard right now. We got this, we got Coma, we got Velomachus, we got Toxrill. Like, I'm trying to think of a 5th one.
I actually
Cemetery
think this is
Desecrator
better
is
than
pretty
most
good.
of those. I'd say
Yeah,
that
I think so
Yeah,
too.
well, like this is
Toxtrill's the only
definitely
other
like
I think this might be number 1. Like,
I
honestly,
think this is
might
number
be the
one.
best
Like
reanimator
I would
that's
always
out
like
there.
in historic. Obviously, it's like Sarah's emissary,
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
right?
Or Ulamog.
But like
Or
or
yeah.
Ulamog, yeah,
Why
but,
not
like,
both? But yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, like Titan just says like I'm gonna beat face versus I'm winning.
Right. But no, like in standard, I can very easily see a scenario where I get this thing into my graveyard on turn 2, using any number of reanimation or discard effects, and with the number of ramp and treasure tokens coming out, I can totally see this thing popping off on turn 4.
Yeah.
That's not hard to do at all.
Well, even in alchemy, you have cards like reassemble from parts.
Yep, assemble from parts is great in alchemy, although it would come into play as a 4/4 with assemble from parts, which
12
kind of
power is not
sucks.
bad though.
Yeah, you
Still
still
fine.
get a 4/4 that you need to make 2 more 4/4s. So you just put 12 power on board
Yeah.
for 3 mana.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying like yeah.
I'm
But
telling
you
you, this
also have
card is strong.
You have Return
Yeah.
Upon the Tide, you have Graveyard Shift, you have Diagraph Rebirth, you have a ton of stuff that you can use to take advantage of this. So I think actually one line that I've loved in my Reanimator decks for a long time that I haven't been able to pull off recently, just because of the way the meta shifted, is culling Ritual into Diagraph Rebirth. That's a great way to hit a turn 4, wipe your board, and then pull out a big threat. If you can make it work. Like against mono white aggro, it eats mono white's lunch. It's great, but and with all the treasure tokens,
lunch and takes its money.
Exactly, it's what is yeah, exactly. But I think Titan of Industry as one of the things you're leaning to or trying to get out. Like this is going to become a major threat in my Reanimator decks, like day 1, for sure.
How about like Gala Greeters, and then you play like a couple creatures, get some treasures, and then
there you go.
You can ramp into this a lot quicker too. I mean, I'm telling you guys, I think that this card, I think everyone doesn't know how good this card is yet. I think that this card is definitely going to be a player.
We're definitely going to find out.
Everyone's going to find out really fast.
Again, guys, like let's be honest here, Vanityverse is still out there. We still have our new removal spells. It's going to come out in Kapena. So like, removal is not short.
True.
But you're fine though, right? Like you're fine with this dying. Like it's not as much of a big hit as like some of your other cards, right?
Dying,
yeah,
sure,
as
but
you got
getting exiled though. Like I can't. You're not running 4 of these.
No,
yeah,
not
you're not playing 4. You're probably like in mono green. I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about just playing 2 because Old Growth Troll.
My question is here for you there, Pizza, because like you play a lot of modern. Would you play this in Tron?
It doesn't destroy a land. Like if it destroy land, I think there's a lot higher ceiling for the card. In Tron, this is also like triple green, so you need to have a lot of like mana rocks out unless you have a Maya, which already makes all your cards tap for green, but then they're not tapping for Tron. I think that the Eldrazi is better than this. The World Breaker. I still think at the end of the day you want to play World Breaker because it's a cast trigger and it exiles. Like, yeah, you don't get more bodies, but in Tron you don't necessarily care about the bodies. I just feel like most of the time I'm just trying to play like a ridiculous card that does ridiculous things that kind of can accrue some value over time, whereas like this card, you kind of get everything up front, and for destroying some artifacts or enchantments, there's like a lot better cards in Modern to play. Same with the life gain, the shield counter is really relevant. Having the 15 power is great, but like I said, like if I have all that mana, I mean, Karn's gonna end the game, Ulamog's gonna end the game. I'm trying to crack my temple to go get the Ulamog, or they're Worm Coils. Like all those cards I think are better than this. They do a lot more, but I definitely see where you're coming from. I don't I'm not gonna discount it being played in Modern overall. I don't think for Tron, but I'm not gonna discount it because, yeah, I mean, you get the persist card. Like, you can go put this in your graveyard, play that persist card or whatever it's called. It gets like a non-legendary back into play, and then you just get this back into play, and I mean, yeah, 14
Oh
power.
yeah. It's not
Yeah.
good. Literally, it's right here. You talk about the black card. I got it right here.
Yeah, there
Nice.
you go.
That looks good.
So yeah, you can turn 3 this, or turn 2 it, whatever, in Modern. I mean, there's potential for it. I don't know, like I said, specifically in Tron, or the thing is, it's an elemental, and an elementals deck does exist. So I mean, that deck is like a control deck. So I mean, could get to this triple greens a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I think I don't discount it being played for Modern. Now that you bring it up, honestly, I just think this card, I can't talk enough. I love big dumb green things, and this card is just.
I just like that it does the things that it does. Like the fact that you can remove 2 like this comes out and say like you're getting fucked on Chalice of the Void, it just destroys the voids.
Against Affinity,
like,
yeah, you hit 2 permanents, right?
Yeah. And I mean, or like you're going against Burn, guess what? You just gain 10 life and you have a 7/7. Good luck.
Yeah, they just outright lose usually in that spot. I mean,
yeah.
If you're going against Control and they don't have like Solitude exiles it, but at the same time, if they don't have the board, like if they do have the board wipe, you can put a shield counter on it and then make a token. So that way, if they do have they need to have the Solitude plus the board wipe, so that's 3 cards if they want to cast a Solitude, whatever, for free. So, I mean, yeah, this card, you're right. I mean, it just does a lot. The fact that you get to choose 2 things, like, it definitely feels mythic, right?
It's this is 110% mythic, and I just love that it's a Titan. Like when's the last time we've seen a Titan?
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, we've talked a lot about this card because this is a card that the floor on this is high. Like, the floor is pretty much the ceiling. Like, it's pretty much where this card is at. So
yeah,
in my opinion, I expect this to be the ramp card, and I also expect it to get played in all kinds of different decks. So it'll find a home somewhere.
Can you imagine just Kiki Jiki copies of that thing?
No.
I can't wait. Let's go.
Look.
I wasn't even thinking of Kiki Jiki.
We didn't even I didn't even think about that until now. That's so gross. You're like,
it's like throwing that out there. I'm just gonna leave this here.
Make some more tokens.
I'm gonna gain 20 life, or I'm gonna put 30 power on board.
Put a shield counter on the Kiki Jiki so you can protect it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh man, this is getting. Let's go to the next one. I'm about to throw up already. Oh, that's crazy. Our next card is interesting. We're getting a little bit of a powered down version of a card that wasn't even that strong to begin with.
Man, this is a tough act to follow.
Yeah. Topiary Stomper, poor card. Colorless and 2 green, trying to stomp its way here into the set review. Plant Dinosaur. It's a 4/4 with Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, you do get to search your library for a basic land card, put on the battlefield tap, so it'll ramp you into the broken card that we just talked about. The last line of text, though, is a little questionable. It can't attack or block unless you control 7 or more lands, so it's the Sawtooth, right? Or whatever it's called.
Wayward
Sawtooth has what, Ascendancy?
Extra land. It has Ascendancy, and it lets you play extra land so you can get to that 7th land.
Ascend,
yeah.
Ascend, and if you have 10 permanents, and
City's Blessing, that's what it is. City's Blessing.
Yeah, you ascend to City's Blessing, but you never lose City's Blessing once you get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't. I'm sorry, guys. I don't really think that this card's good enough.
No, I don't think so either. I think sure, it ramps you, but you're not blocking.
4/3 that should have still been able to block. I think it should have been a 4/3, and then it said it could still block, but it can't attack unless you have 7 or more lands. How would you guys feel about that? Would that be better?
Yeah, I think that'd be fair, because not being like, basically you're saying, okay, 3 mana tutor basic land. Nah, I do nothing, and I'm still open. Oh, next turn I'm still open. Next turn after that I'm still open, and turn after that, all right, we're dead.
Yeah, you can't think of this as a creature. I mean, this is a 3 mana ramp mana fixer.
It's cultivate. They're not cultivate.
It's passive festival. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the one place where
Oh,
One
sorry.
place where I wouldn't mind running it is in a deck that's leveraging teleportation circle to be able to blink it to get more ETBs. Like that wouldn't be too bad. But you know, there are better things you could be blinking.
The thing that
So
hurts me about this card is that treasures exist. So a lot of your ramping
right.
is going to be gone. It's not like you're putting a lot of lands into play with a lot of these cards. Like it's just like a I use it right now type of resource. So I it's just a little bit too slow. Like I how do you guys feel if it was put any land into play tapped?
Oh my goodness, that'd be amazing.
If it was any land, then it would be a good card.
Do you think that the downside of the 7 or more lands would be negated?
No, it would. Yeah, I think the 7 more lands would be needed.
Okay.
If it searched up any land at all, then the attack and you can't attack and you can't block is needed.
Well, if it was any land at all, then all of a sudden you'd be seeing older formats that really want to take advantage of this too. You know, like you mentioned Tron, that seemed like I don't know enough about
Actually,
modern
that
to know
wouldn't be
whether or not.
bad. I mean, you're not going to hit the
But
7 lands, but the fact that you'd go get any land isn't the worst thing.
yeah,
You just get a permanent out there. I don't know. I mean, yeah, like I said in Tron, I mean, 7 lands is rough, but
oh yeah, no, it's
still
and
getting
again,
a land is
it's not a
important.
creature. You're not playing it to be a creature. You're just playing it to fetch that
You're just
land.
you're playing it to ramp and that's it.
Yeah, your later ones aren't even really. I mean, I don't want to discount the card because I don't know, the other version of the card didn't get played either. But
right.
I mean, the later in the game, the more that you have of these, the better it is. But at the same time, like, what turn are we talking about that I'm finally going to be able to get to attack with my 4/4 when we literally have Old Growth Troll that actually ramps you if it dies and can attack or block? So yeah, let's stomp our way to the next card here. So we have a 2-drop here, Curve Filler, 4 limited, Venom Connoisseur, colorless and a green, Human Druid 2/2. Whenever another creature in his battlefield under control, this card gains Death Touch until end of turn. If it's the second time this ability resolved, all creatures gain Death Touch. All creatures you control gain Death Touch until end of turn. I like it. Solid 2-drop. Just gets better as the game keeps going on.
You see limited and I see constructed. I think this is it's a constructed card in one deck specifically. I think that this this card is what Finn the Fangbearer needed to kill people out in Infect. Because it needs creatures to have Death Touch to do poison damage. And just 2 creatures come down, then your whole board gets Death Touch, and then you can swing for lethal. Pretty good.
Yeah, that seems decent because I know in that deck, I've used Seraph before, and I've seen Seraph be used before, but it's a 4-drop, and so the difference between a 4-drop and a 2-drop is massive, and so I can appreciate that. Yeah, I think you're right. I think in a Finn deck, this could be worthwhile because that deck also wants to have a lot of small creatures entering the
lots of 1-drops, right?
So it'd be very easy to trigger. The other thing, Death Touch in general is a keyword that you can't really count out ever.
You really can't because you can't.
Yeah.
You can't block into it. Like you just have to take. I'm taking 1 damage, sure. And then you're like, oh shit, wait a minute, Finn's on board. Actually, I'm taking 6 poison count. I can't take 2 more hits. I'm fucked.
Your life total's like half, right? With Infect, specifically with them, it's poison counters. But
with Finn, if you're attacking with 1/1s, you get 2 poison counters per hit.
So
it's kind of like quartering your life total. It's pretty brutal. Yeah,
definitely. So yeah, I mean, either way, this is going to be a limited all-star, and in terms of constructed, this has potential.
Yeah.
Our next card here, I'm a little bit higher on this card than our original spoiler. So we have Vivian on the Hunt, 4 colorless, 2 green, legendary planeswalker Vivian, comes in with 4 loyalty. +2, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card, mana value equal to 1, plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle, +1. Mill 5 cards and put any number of creature cards milled this way into your hand. -1, create a 4/4 green Rhino. Create a 4/4 green Rhino warrior creature token. You know what? In the beginning,
we don't have that 2-drop on Arena, do we? The one that says put a planeswalker from your hand into play.
No, we don't.
That would be dope.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy.
You know what I'm talking about, right? The red and 6 creature.
I think so.
Is it 2 or is it 3 mana?
I can't remember.
I can't remember what it's called. I know there's a combo with that people are saying that you want to run with it because you can just blink and you basically put that into play, birthing pod, put something else into play. You basically loop it.
Oh, because you
There's
can
a
blink
loop.
the Vivian.
Yeah.
Are you talking about like for EDH though specifically?
No. This is for a 60 card.
Huh. I want. Is it Felidar Guardian?
It is Guardian, I think.
I think Guardian might be on the
Because with
curve
Felidar
somewhere,
Guardian,
yeah.
you can plus. I mean, there's all kinds of nut stuff you can do in Modern. You can get like Agisaurus Rider down, and then you can somehow, if you can cheat Vivian into play, you can then sack the Agisaurus Rider to go get a Gristlebrand, and then you can start drawing your deck.
Seems good.
Ham, your reaction was priceless. You're like, I could tell you were like, talk about Christmas land.
Right.
Like, you talk about Christmas.
Fun thought for sure.
I'm
But
over
come
here
on,
being
yeah.
like, here's this ridiculous like turn 2 Gristlebrand. Like, what the heck are you doing here?
Yeah, that
What do
involves
you
a
mean
6-drop
turn
planeswalker.
2
Like,
Gristlebrand?
how are you? Yeah.
Oh, this just sounds so broken. But yeah, you could so if you really could cheat this out that early, you can, I don't know, sack one of your creatures, go get a Felidar Guardian. Felidar Guardian blinks a permanent, so then you can blink the Vivian, sack your Guardian, go get a 5-drop. I don't know, maybe there's another 5 or 6-drop that blinks a card, and then you can kind of just keep going and going and going until you go get the bomb that you need. Because there is a 6-mana Angel, I think, that removes another permanent, if I'm not mistaken. So you really can almost like keep it bumping up to the top.
Yeah, I mean, Birthing Pod is fun. Like, the Birthing Pod ability is fun, and having that on a Planeswalker is fine. Like, it's a fine place for it. It had to be 6-drop because it can be incredibly powerful. I want this card in situations where I am wanting to sacrifice decent-sized creatures for value. If I'm sacrificing the like the Kamigawa dragons for value, being able to upgrade them into bigger dragons or bigger monsters is sweet. Like, that sounds awesome to me. Like, you know, so the one place that I actually plan on putting Vivian, like, I have a brew kind of kicking around in my head. It's going to be all Jund dragons with Zeatora and Riveteer's Ascendancy.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of you sacrifice Junji, you pull that sushi out of your graveyard, you go get Zeatora with Vivian's ability, like, stuff gets nuts.
I sent the card in chat so you guys can see what I'm talking about. This is
cool. Thank you.
I'll look at it here in a little bit.
So I think Vivian is really, the +2 is really where it's at. Like, the other two abilities are fine, whatever, but you know, the
you
+2
want a birthing pod. Like, you want a birthing pod.
Yeah, if you want a birthing pod, okay, she works. Like, you can get there. But if you don't have a good curve of creatures that are threatening, that are worth that taking that birthing pod climb up to, then don't even consider her. You know, she just doesn't. Like, she's very, I don't know, surprisingly situational for being a big flashy planeswalker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it though. The Workshop Chieftain. I'm so sorry. The Workshop Rhino. I don't know what the name of the card called. We're gonna
Workshop Warchief is the 5-drop.
We're gonna review that later. But I'm in like this super like green scenario where I play that. I play Vivian. I sack the Rhino. I go get the Hump Master, the Tovolar card that makes 2 werewolves when it comes in. So you go get that, and then you go get the Elemental that we were just talking about, the Titan. Like the next turn, so you're just ramping into all these big cards over and over again and getting tons of value. So
and it's it's a plus ability.
Yeah, it's not a minus.
Even like, it's not a minus. Like, something like the reason why this is powerful is because it's a plus. Usually, like, things like that, like this effect, would be a minus ability, but it's a +2.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Alas, it is 6 mana, so it's a moot point.
I mean, we're talking about some curves that are going to be absolutely fantastic if you can get there.
If you can,
it's a big if.
And Vivian of the Hunt is the biggest if of this set.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion.
I like it. As someone who enjoys green cards, I'm not going to count it out. I know a lot of people kind of count out green planeswalkers, but I don't know. I'm not going to count it out. I think that this one, you know, right now, yeah, I agree. It doesn't really seem like anything crazy, but you know, who knows? We could end up seeing someone come up with this crazy green X value deck that.
Oh yeah,
just
the hive mind will know. What I know, there's already someone out there that's already broken this card. Shout out to you! I can't wait to see your deck so I can try to play it and fail. And
Well, the real shout out is to Fire Shoes for pointing out that individual when they come up.
yes, yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
Throwing that out
100%.
there. Thank you.
100%.
Anyway.
So we're gonna move on to our next card. That card's awesome though.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's cool
myself.
stuff. Yeah.
Next we have Voice of the Vermin. 3 colorless and a green. Human Citizen 2/2. This card enters with a shield counter on it. Whenever it attacks, target creature control has base power and toughness 4/4 10 a turn. So essentially, this card can make itself a 4/4. If you don't really have anything else you want to do it, or you can make something else a 4/4, and it can protect itself during combat because of the shield counter that it comes into play with. Just a limited card. Not really much else to talk about, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't really dig that. Even the shield counter's nice, but for 4 mana, I don't think you get enough.
Yeah, exactly. The next card here, we have another card that's pretty much a limited card, if anything. 2 colorless and a green, Warm Welcome. It's an instant. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it in your hand. The rest go on the bottom of your library in a random order, and you make a 1/1 green-white citizen creature token. The best part about this card is that it's instant. My only downside with it is that usually we see these effects at cheaper. I guess the fact that it makes that 1/1 token at more as like a resource than a creature, I guess, is the thing. I still would have liked this at 2 mana, wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah, and I think at 2 mana, but like it being at 3 mana, the only way I would say I would justify this if it said put the other cards in your graveyard versus your library.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, if it was filling your yard, if he was putting 4 cards in your yard, giving you the citizen, and then drawing a card, yeah, I'll pay 3 for that. But
yeah, exactly. But
yeah.
you're paying 3 to shuffle cards back in. You get a 1/1 and you get a creature, and it's still with potential. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So our next card, this card I'm high on. We were just talking about this with Vivian. Workshop War Chief, 3 colorless, 2 green, Rhino Warrior. It's a 5/3 with trample. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. When it dies, you make a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token. It also has Blitz, 4 colorless, 2 green. So you get some value if you blitz. You'll get the token. You get to draw a card. You get to gain some life. It's a 5/3 with trample, so on and so forth. I mean, there's so much on this card. This is the evolution of Thragtusk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Thragtusk has grown up a little bit. It doesn't have the when it leaves the battlefield, so it's not that broken. But I actually think this card. I expect this card to get played. It has so much text and it's doing so much. Like, what do you guys think?
It's 5 mana.
It is 5 mana. 5 mana is a lot, but you gain life at the same time, though.
I mean, so this is kind of where I rate in like the 5 slot for mono green is that we just had not Gargaroth. Is it Gargaroth?
Elder Gargaroth was prior to this last rotation.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
right. We had a card like that at 5 mana that was Vigilance, Trample, Reach.
That was a mythic, though. Let's
Yeah. Well, are you sure?
Yeah, Gargaroth was a mythic. No, yeah, Gargaroth was definitely a mythic.
Yeah, no, it was. You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
I had to go to the tape on that one because I could have swore I saw a rare symbol on that.
Yeah,
but you're right, mythic.
But like I said, like 5 mana, like that's kind of oomph you want at your 5 mana. Like even like Ren, you could potentially create when Ren comes down. Most times you're getting a 5/5 with Reach. I get I don't know, like you gain 3 life, and for the Blitz cost, like you can get a 4/4, you gain 3 life, and you can come in with 5. I don't know. I don't like maybe mono green runs 2 of these, but I think there's still better cards. I don't think I'm wrong for thinking that there's better cards in this. Yes, I think it's one of those cards that it just says a lot. But is it really doing a lot?
I didn't like it in green. Like, I don't like it in mono green. I like it more in like mid-rangey type decks. You know what I mean? I don't think that this card. It's
but
not
even
an
at a
aggressive
mid-rangey
card,
type deck, like your mid-range, like what is your 5 spells doing? Your 5 spells is usually are your bombs, right? Like you're trying to get your 5 turn 5, turn 6. You want to drop your absolute haymakers, your bombs, your pivotal points, where it's like I'm winning or I'm taking back the game, or you know what I mean. This doesn't do that. This just says, all right, here's a 5/3. All right, I gained 3 life. All right, your turn.
Yeah,
That's kind of like where I said. I'm like, it's a good card. It's a good card.
It might be there. Maybe I'm like a little bit too high on it. I'm not sure. I like.
I've been wrong.
It's
I was
like
wrong about Kiki. I was wrong about Kiki. So like, I could be very wrong about Workshop.
It's like our two different perspectives on it, kind of, or where the card's gonna shine and where the card's gonna fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the test of old school Magic versus new school Magic.
100%.
Because this is so close to Thragtusk. We're gonna see if Thragtusk can handle it.
Yeah, can Tusk hang with the new kids?
Yeah, exactly.
Is Tusk still hip? Is Tusk still hip and cool?
Yeah, I think the Blitz cost though is very relevant because for 6, you're attacking with a 5/3 Trampler that leaves behind a 4/4 body and gains you 3 life. I mean, and draws you a card.
Yeah, so at 6,
that's not bad.
I think it's sweet because now it says it has Trample, Haste, you gain 3 life, and make a 4/4
and
for
draw
6
card.
mana, and draw a card for 6 mana.
Yeah, I mean that's a green.
At 6 mana, it's sweet.
Yeah, that's a green ball lightning with a lot of value attached to it.
At 5 mana, I just don't think it's where it should be.
Okay. I mean, I still think it's good though. I don't know. I think that there could be a deck that wants this card. I'm not sure what that deck is. For me, when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, just like a grindy. If you can blink it, maybe, or you can sacrifice it, or you can blitz it out, all that good stuff, so that way you get the extra value. I do agree though with Hammer.
What if you took away the 3 life and it says when it entered the battlefield, it fought a creature?
You what?
Instead of it saying it gains 3 life, and it replace it with when it enters the field, it fights a creature.
Yeah, that'd probably be just like really good. Just because no matter what, you'll still get the 4/4. I feel like that might be too good. That's because well, actually, it's not that it's too good. It'd probably be playable at that point, just because you're getting.
Yeah, I think it would be playable because you kill something, you lose this, you get a 4/4. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting. I agree with Hammer's point of it is like almost old school versus new school.
Yeah.
And I like that. I do want to see if it can hang. Well, and the ideal scenario.
Oh, we're losing you there.
Already. Blitzin Warchief. So you get to attack with it. Unless it's an attack where the Warchief's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
But then you uptick Vivian, sacrifice the Warchief, who's going to get sacrificed at the end of turn anyway. Draw a card off of it because Blitz lets you do that. And then you go grab a 6-drop, which could be Tovolar's Huntmaster. Or, there are a couple of other great 6-drop options. And put even more power on the board and leave that 4/4 behind. I mean, that could be a really powerful turn that could turn the game in your favor, which is ultimately what you want to see. So yeah, we need to be in a situation where we have another 6-drop on board and we're hitting a 6-drop blitz here. But if you need to stabilize in a game that's kind of grinding out, that'd be a great way to do it.
The reason why I can't see it is that it's in green. Green, in my opinion, doesn't play well. Doesn't play the mid range well. It's usually like Rakdos splash green, like for Jund.
Okay.
Right? It's usually like it's always a splash and usually like the splash is for Innkeeper so that you could ramp. It's right? Like most of your green spells are so that you can ramp into your later turns with mid range. So like ramping into this, it's another creature to be removed by Vanishing Verse, by the new removal spells. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stay tuned.
I like it.
Come back next time.
I think it's gonna get played myself. We'll see if this is one of the ones that does stand the test of time. But that actually concludes our green set review. We do want to thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and like the video. Where can we find you guys at?
You can find me on twitch.tv/HearSayTTV Monday, Tuesday at 11 a.m. Atlantic Eastern, and Wednesday, Thursday at 11 p.m. Atlantic Eastern.
Yep, and you can find me twitch.tv/hamhocks42. I'm over there Monday through Friday at about 7 a.m. going until 11 a.m. most days. And yeah, playing Janky Brews and having fun.
And thanks again for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. And I hope that you keep it cheesy. See you next time.